yes, can be used against you if you willfully or deliberately choose to mislead or to give false information. It can be used against you. It is my belief that you are going to share with us information that is factual, that will help us to do a report that we shall present before the main house. With that said, I would like to ask you, Council Secretary, to introduce yourself and allow others to do the same. Although I should congratulate you that you have come with the one witness is now in Choma. That's a spirit. Those who are there should come and account for themselves. So introduce yourself and those that you have come with. Thank you.
God bless you, Chair. Good evening. My name is Cholwe Maunga, Council Secretary, SINAZONGWE Town Council. I'll allow the other members to introduce themselves.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chair. Good evening, every honorable members. My name is Mtonga Moffat, Director Engineer, SINAZONGWE Town Council.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chair and everyone. My name is Alan Walia, Director of Finance, SINAZONGWE Town Council. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair. Good evening, everybody. My name is Hargeta McGiven, the former Director of Finance of SINAZONGWE Town Council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chair. Good morning. Good evening, honorable members, and good evening, Secretariat. Not forgetting permanent members. My name is Mukoma Charles, Group Internal Auditor from SINAZONGWE Town Council. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome.
Good evening, Chair. Good evening, everyone. My name is Chipego Mdenda, Director Planning.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chair. Good evening, permanent witnesses and the secretaries and the honorable members. My name is Njov Elton, Procurement Officer for SINAZONGWE Town Council.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chair. Good evening, everyone. My name is Yesan Kamtengo Piri, Chief Accountant. Yesan Kamtengo Piri.
Olala.
Chief Accountant.
Kakoina ngumazina atiseka wemba. I want to know CS no Mulunda waseka, so I will be in trouble. Thank you.
Yes, Chief Accountant for SINAZONGWE Town Council, Southern Province. Thank you.
Yeah, so mazina ina mziasi yako. So na mburu wanga mtonga sakamba hapa mtima. Sibweni mwimakora. Makora. Permanent witnesses, starting with Edge's office.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Chair. Good evening, honorable members of the committee. Good evening, SINAZONGWE Town Council. My name is Martin Muni, Assistant Director, Southern Province. I'm accompanied by my officers who introduce themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. My name is Simon Munyama. I'm from the Planning and Research Department, Office of the Auditor General.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chair. Good evening, members of the committee. Good evening, SINAZONGWE. My name is Achiuya Davis, Assistant Director, Local Authorities Department, National Ministry of Finance and National Planning, Audit Division, and you're welcome.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chair. Good evening, honorable members of the committee. SINAZONGWE Town Council, you're welcome, and good evening to you. My name is Joyce Kuvansa from Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. Thank you.
Thank you. Commission.
Thank you, Chair, and good evening to you and your honorable members. SINAZONGWE, you're welcome. It's good to see you here. My name is Mutali Mishek. I'm from the Local Government Service Commission. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Secretariat.
Thank you, Chair, and good evening. Emmanuel Walia from the Office of the Clerk, National Assembly of Zambia.
Thank you. Honorable Member for Kaumbwe.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Siavonga Town Council.
SINAZONGWE.
SINAZONGWE, yeah.
You're busy. Yeah, because of the performance.
SINAZONGWE Town Council, welcome to your Committee on Local Government Accounts. I'm Honorable Dr. Aaron Mwanza, Member of Parliament for Kaumbwe constituency in Petauke District of Eastern Province. Thank you.
Dindumwezi.
Chair, thank you very much. SINAZONGWE Town Council, good evening. I'm Honorable Dr. Singombe, representing the people of Dundumwezi in Kalomo Southern Province. You're welcome to your committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Siavunga.
Thank you. Good evening, SINAZONGWE Town Council. Good evening, permanent witnesses. SINAZONGWE, my name is Mulonda Darius, Member of Parliament for Siavunga constituency. Chairperson, I thank you.
Thank you, CS. And Mishek Mtetwa Nyambose. I represent the wonderful people of Chasefu constituency in Eastern Province, and I'm privileged to chair your committee. On behalf of the committee, I would like to once again welcome you and allow you to take us through your report.
Thank you, Chair. Presenting paragraph 96, SINAZONGWE Town Council. The first query relates to delayed implementation of projects. Management response, cause of query. Management acknowledges the audit finding regarding delayed implementation of 5 approved water reticulation projects with a total allocation of 1,373,027 kwacha. The delays were primarily due to procurement-related challenges encountered during the engagement of contractors for the installation of solar mechanized water systems. The initial procurement attempt failed due to low responsiveness, largely because many bidders lacked adequate familiarity with the EGP platform, resulting in incomplete or non-compliant submissions. Action taken. Following the approval for direct bidding by the procurement committee, suitable contractors were engaged to install the solar mechanized water systems. Besides, the council organized an EGP training for local contractors. As of the reporting date, all 5 projects had been successfully completed and are fully operational, as seen in the table below. Refer to Appendix 1 for details. The first project is a solar mechanized water system at Lusinga, completed. A solar mechanized water system at Sianzovu, completed. A solar mechanized water system at Dengeza, completed. Solar mechanized water system at Nawukowa, completed. A solar mechanized water system at Muchekwa, completed. Remedial measure. Management will continue organizing trainings for local contractors in the use of the EGP system to ensure that CDF projects are implemented on time. The next query, Chair, relates to stored projects, completion of male and female police cells in Mamba. Management response, cause of query. Management acknowledges the audit finding of stored project relating to male and female police cells in Mamba. This was as a result of the delay by Zambia Police Service in approving the design of the cell doors. Additionally, once the design for the cell grill doors was approved and the advertisement floated to the public, the bid was non-responsive. Action taken. Management wishes to state that due to the challenges experienced on the EGP system by would-be contractors and the resultant failure to successfully engage a contractor, the local authority procured all required materials and the remaining works were undertaken through labor-based contract. The project has since been completed, as can be seen in the picture below. Refer to Appendix 2 for details. Remedial measure. Management will continue organizing trainings for local contractors in the use of the EGP system to ensure that CDF projects are completed on time. The next query, Chair, relates to poor workmanship, construction of a deep tank. Management response, cause of query. Management acknowledges the audit finding of poor workmanship in the construction of the deep tank. The observed defects were due to the nature of the soil being expansive clay soil. This was exacerbated by the lack of adequate water supply during the project period. The borehole could not be drilled due to the need to change from a hand pump to a solar mechanized water system, which was not adequately budgeted for under the 2022 funding. Action taken. Management wishes to state that the water solar mechanized system was budgeted for under 2023. The borehole has since been drilled and equipped with solar mechanized water system. The contractor was engaged to work on the observed defects with more reinforcement this time around. All defects have since been worked on as shown in the photos below. Refer to Appendix 3 for details. Remedial measure. Management will ensure that going forward, all projects are undertaken. Remedial measure. Management will ensure that going forward, all projects undertaken in similar soil type are adequately reinforced. Chair, the remaining queries relate to cross-cutting issues, the first one being budget funding and expenditure. Management response, cause of query. Management wishes to acknowledge the audit finding of variance amounting to 1,038,530 kwacha in the budget performance. This was due to non-funding by the ministry. Action taken. The council inquired on the non-receipt of 1,038,530 kwacha and was guided that it was a deduction at source to facilitate the insurance of a CDF monitoring vehicle and funds for construction of a Chief's Palace. Kindly refer to Appendix 4 for details. Remedial measure. The council will continue to liaise with the parent ministry to have full details on all funds deducted at source. The next query, Chair, relates to retained funds for Chief's Palace.
I urge you to skip that one because mostly this issue is beyond the council's.
Thank you, Chair.
You skip that one, go to the next one, which is total unspent funds on page 9.
Thank you, Chair. The next query is total unspent funds. Management response, cause of query. Management wishes to acknowledge the audit finding of unspent funds amounting to 22,073,404 kwacha. This was due to late disbursement of some funds which were received on 29th December 2023, as well as the lengthy procurement process such that some contractors were failing at preliminary level due to wrong attachments to their bid documents on the EGP platform. Action taken. The council has since spent 20,870,017 kwacha 75 ngwe as at 31st March 2025, leaving a balance of 1,203,386 kwacha 25 ngwe as shown in the table below. Kindly refer to Appendix 6 for further details. On community projects, the council spent 13,174,136 kwacha 22 ngwe. On empowerment grants, the council spent 30,000 kwacha. On bursaries, the council spent 726,856 kwacha. On the administrative component, the council spent 497,306 kwacha. On the disaster component, the local authority spent 539,900. Chair, we also wish to report that there was also an accrued interest in the amount of 116,379 kwacha. This brings us to a total expenditure of 20,870,017 kwacha 75 ngwe. Remedial measure. Management will continue organizing trainings for local contractors in the use of the EGP system to ensure that CDF projects are implemented on time. The next query, Chair, relates to unspent funds, community projects. Management response, cause of query. Management wishes to acknowledge the audit finding of failure to spend 13,338,047 kwacha on community projects by 31st December 2023. This was as a result of funds being received late and lengthy procurement processes on community projects. Action taken. The Council has expedited the works and projects have been executed to a level of completion as at 31st March 2025. The Council spent 13,174,136 kwacha 22 ngwe with a balance of 163,910 kwacha 78 ngwe, which was withheld as retention, as can be seen in the table below. Kindly refer to Appendix 7 for further details. Remedial measure. Management will continue organizing trainings for local contractors in the use of the EGP system to ensure that CDF projects are implemented on time. The next query, Chair, relates to unspent funds empowerment grants. Management response. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the audit finding that at the time of the audit, an amount of 60,257 kwacha of the grants was not spent. This was due to incorrect banking details submitted by 2 clubs, which resulted in money bouncing back into the council account, while the other was as a result of 2 clubs being duplicated. Action taken. Management has since disbursed 30,000 after receiving correct banking details from the 2 clubs, and the balance of 30,257 kwacha from the 2 duplicated clubs was reported to the CDFC committee for reallocation and has been approved by the provincial local government officer. Kindly refer to the table below and Appendix 8 for details. Remedial measure. Management will ensure that clubs submit correct banking details for easy and prompt disbursement of funds. The next query, Chair, relates to unspent funds empowerment grants. Management response. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the audit finding that at the time of the audit, 60,257 kwacha of the grants was not spent. This was due to incorrect banking details submitted by 2 clubs, which resulted in money bouncing back into the council account, while the other amount was as a result of 2 clubs which were duplicated. Action taken. Management has since disbursed 30,000 after receiving correct bank details from the 2 clubs, and the balance of 30,257 kwacha from the 2 duplicated clubs was reported to the CDFC committee for reallocation and approved by the provincial local government officer. Kindly refer to the table below and Appendix 8 for details. Remedial measure. Management will ensure that clubs submit correct banking details for easy and prompt disbursement of funds. The next query, Chair, relates to secondary boarding and skills development bursaries. Management response. Cause of query. Management wishes to acknowledge the audit finding of unspent funds and unspent bursaries amounting to 726,856 kwacha. This was because only 843 of the total approved learners out of 928 reported, while 85 learners did not report during the 2023 academic year due to various challenges such as lack of transport, meals, and PPE. Action taken. The council spent the 726,856 kwacha on the continuing learners and the 2024 approved learners prior to the 2024 funding by the ministry. Kindly refer to the table below and Appendix 9 for details. Remedial measure. The council will continue engaging institutions of learning to provide incentives aimed at encouraging learners to report in numbers once accepted, such as provision of transport, decent accommodation, and meals. The next query, Chair, relates to unspent funds, administrative costs. Management response. Cause of query. Management wishes to acknowledge the audit finding of unspent administrative funds amounting to 497,306 kwacha. The funds were meant for administrative costs relating to projects that were still ongoing. Action taken. The Council has spent amounts totaling 497,306 kwacha on the administrative component as at 31st March 2025. Kindly refer to Appendix 10. Remedial measure. The Council will continue to ensure that funds on the administrative component are administered in such a way that they cater for all stages of project implementation up to the end of defects liability period. The next query, Chair, relates to 2022 community projects. Management response, cause of query. Management wishes to acknowledge the audit finding that 10 projects were work in progress and 1 was outstanding due to delay by the community in identifying an alternative site, as the earlier site could not be accessed due to the bad state of the road, whereas those that were work in progress had their contracts still running. Action taken. As at 31st March 2025, the Council had completed all the 11 projects. Kindly refer to Appendix 11 for details. Remedial measure. The Council will continue to engage the community in case of changes in project requirements. The next query, Chair, relates to community projects. Management response, cause of query. Management wishes to acknowledge the audit finding that 10 projects were work in progress and 1 was outstanding due to the delay by Zambia Police Service in approving the design of the cell doors as well as non-responsive bids once the project was advertised.
So repeat. You can skip it.
The next query, Chair, relates to analysis of performance, youth, women, and community grants.
If you have already spoken to them, you skip them. Maybe this one is a detailed analysis.
Maybe we can move to soft loans.
Okay, soft loans.
Thank you, Chair. The next query is relating performance analysis, soft loans. Management response, cause of query. Management acknowledges the audit finding of disbursing funds amounting to 5,934,135 kwacha. This was due to the 2022 approved loans being disbursed in the year 2023 together with the 2023 approved loans, as the Council was still waiting for guidance from the Ministry regarding procedure for disbursement. Action taken. Management disbursed both the 2022 and 2023 loans in 2023. Kindly refer to Appendix 14 for details. Remedial measure. The Council will continue to disburse loans to beneficiaries once approvals are secured. The next query relates to failure to recover loans. Management response, cause of query. Management acknowledges the audit finding of failure to recover loan repayments. This was due to failure on the part of loan beneficiaries to honor their obligation to pay despite undergoing financial literacy training that was conducted by Zanaco Bank. Action taken. The bank was engaged to provide a comprehensive report on how the beneficiaries were faring in terms of payments. Further, the loan beneficiaries were engaged, who in turn signed commitment forms assuring management that they will honor their monthly loan repayments. As at 28th February 2025, an amount totaling 976,476 kwacha wanungwe had been recovered from loan beneficiaries. Kindly refer to Appendix 15 for details. Remedial measure. Management will continue monitoring the loan repayment performance and engaging the beneficiaries to ensure adherence to the loan repayment obligation as per signed commitment forms. The next query, Chair, relates to secondary boarding and skills development bursaries. Management response, cause of query. Management acknowledges the audit finding that the number of graduates is less than the number of sponsored beneficiaries and wishes to state that this was because 80 students did not report, while 76 students were still in school at the time of the audit. Whereas for the boarding secondary school bursaries, 174 pupils were continuing in the year 2024. Action taken. Management wishes to state that the 76 students have since completed, while 17 pupils completed, and the other 157 pupils are still in school. Kindly refer to Appendix 16 for details. Remedial measure. Management will continue to engage learning institutions on the performance of CDF-sponsored learners. Chair, I wish to assure the committee that all remedial measures submitted shall be enhanced to improve on the accountability function and attain expected service delivery to the community. I submit for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, CS, for that wonderful submission. Honorable members, is now to ask points of clarification. Dr. Mwanza, then Honorable Singombe. Start with Dr. Mwanza.
Thank you, Chair. We go to page 1.
Page 1?
Yeah, delayed implementation of projects. There are 5 projects that they're all water-related projects that were delayed for implementation, and the projects are listed on page 2. Basically, the boreholes were drilled, but solar mechanization system was not in place. And the total contract price, total allocated amount was 1,373,027 kwacha. The first question is, the projects for water supply system involving drilling and the equipping of the boreholes, why didn't management put this contract as a full package? A contractor who wins the contract for drilling and
equipping,
then
he does the solar.
He does the solar. Because the situation that you ended up in is you drilled the borehole, and they were of no use until more than I'm not sure when did you drill the boreholes, but these solar contractors were only engaged end of November, which I believe the boreholes had been just idle like that for more than a year.
CS?
Thank you very much, Chair. There were other aspects that needed to be done that were not in the initial scope, such as issues of pump testing. Also, coverage in terms of network had to be assessed. But then I want to agree with the honorable member that in future we could consider doing it as a package.
Singombe? You come back as it's a different one? Okay, let's have a follow-up.
You have explained that you started now implementing direct bidding, and you have listed on page, you have listed the number of contractors or suppliers with their related experience in Appendix 1. And later, you awarded the contracts, and all these boreholes have since then been mechanized and completed. I'm interested on the solar system at Lusinga. Lusinga, the contractor was Damos Enterprise, and the contract Domas Enterprise, and the contract amount is 300 and the LPO shows 250, yes, but this is above the allocated amount. The allocated amount on page 2. Page 2, so Lusinga was allocated 193,000 kwacha and 27 ngwe. 193,027 kwacha, but the contract for Lusinga is above the budgeted price. The rest are below the allocated amount. So only one, the price is above the allocated amount. The price on the LPO is 359,358 kwacha. Whilst your budgeted amount, as on page 2, is 193 kwacha, 27.
Let us ask them to respond, Doc. CS. First, before you respond, I had an observation on the appendices. The way you have labeled them in my report, they are in letters, but the reference is in numbers. This is Appendix A, but when you read the reports, you are referring to numbers 1, 2, Appendix 11, which is not there. I've tried to look at the... You use the A, B, C, D up to Z. This side you use the numbers in the report. So I observed that. I don't know if my colleagues have got a different one.
You respond to that?
Yes, yes.
What normally happens at times, you would have done the report in numbers, hoping when you get to the shop you would find numbers, but we found ABC. So what we did, if you check, Chair, there's a page typed,
okay,
which says Appendix 1. We took the initiative to type on top.
Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Before each appendix starts.
Okay.
Then in terms of, I don't know if I have your permission to respond to the
yes,
Honourable
yes,
Member's
go
question.
ahead, respond, yeah.
Thank you, Chair. So there was additional funding on that project, and I think I did allude to that in my presentation.
Where is the authority for additional?
We have attached the minute. Chair, I have the minutes. I was very sure that they are attached, but I could ask Secretariat to pass them on to you.
I hope they're not dated 2025.
No, Chair.
We are used. No. We were just treated to... Okay, so these minutes were dated 2024 May 24th May 2024. So speaking to Lusinga, yes, meaning that in 2023 the contracts were awarded, then it was not, the monies were not enough. In 2024 they decided to give an additional funds. Is it? The additional funds were granted, according to these minutes, May 2024. You can reconcile, meaning that earlier they had the first apportionment, then they went to seek authority of, I want to see this figure. However, an addition of 457,776 turning way for expansion of water storage systems in 3 different sites: Chiabi, Malima, and Nangombe. This brings the total deficit to 5. You were trying to seek to get authority. Now we can't see.
No, these are not the areas that are under query. Sorry, Chair.
Yeah, may I respond?
No, let's ask Dr. Manza first.
On page 1, out of 23 approved community projects with an allocation of 13,831,000, only 5 were not fully implemented. And these 5 are listed on page 2.
Yes, we've seen them.
Exactly. So now, I haven't seen the
Lusinga.
but of course, the names that you're mentioning, they are not here.
So how do you relate these 3 to Lusinga?
This problem of Lusinga, Dengeza, and Nabukoa, as well as Muchekwa.
Particularly on Lusinga, which had an additional funding. The rest, they were within the funding and they were done. So Lusinga was given additional. So wanted to know your authority.
Yes, Chair. I've just provided it to you. Lusinga is in Nangombe. Lusinga is in
Nangombe is a ward?
Yes.
Oh,
Nangombe
so you
is a
referred
ward.
to the ward here?
Yes, and I thought I could also add, with your permission, Chair, that the Honorable Member was referring to allocations in his initial question. Those were allocations.
Okay.
Yes.
So the allocations were not the contract. There's
the allocation is 193,027, right? So when you give the contract, or rather the LPO, it was given to Domas Enterprise Limited at a price of 359,359. So where the allocated amount is less than the contracted amount. That is what we want to seek in terms of the source additional funding, where the authorities and this is.
So, in future, to answer the query, you are supposed to be specific. But here you are saying Chiavi is a word, Malima is a word, Nangombe is a word. In Nangombe, that's where Lusinga is. So you should have explained this, not in the minute, because in the minute you're okay. But in the text, you should have explained that the funding was granted under minute number so by CDFC committee. The amount here, they have taken a block figure for 3, because they were seeking authority for 3. It's not broken down. They are asking for 457,776. Correct? This was for these 3 words. So now, to be specific in relation to Lusinga, it's not coming out as a figure. But what you are saying is that you are trying to hide under that, for lack of a better term. So we can make progress. There was the Honorable Singombe, then I'll come to.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to place it on record that SINAZONGWE, they delayed, but they went ahead and fulfilled. And I think this is what I would want to see from all local authorities. Because, Chair, there is a very big gap from the time of audit and the time that they appear here. And I think if we can have local authorities responding immediately, for me, I think it's good. However, my question is, some of the projects delayed because of probably what I would call your local contractors not being fully oriented on the EGP. Now, my question is, I want to ask whether you have taken time as a local authority to orient our local contractors, because contracting a person outside your constituency or district, it means that you are sending money away that should have circulated within Siavonga. To what extent have you taken this assignment as a local authority? Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Chair. I remember in my report mentioning we've done a number of trainings for local contractors, and we have attached some minutes to that effect. And I note the concern by the honorable member, and indeed that is why, as a local authority, even when ZPPA had taken the initiative to actually do some trainings in local authorities, we also did our own trainings as a local authority, Chair. And we intend to continue doing just that, because that is definitely a noted concern. We wish to continue engaging local contractors as we have done on other projects.
Dr. Mwanza is shaking his head. He's not satisfied.
Yes, I'm not satisfied.
Just hold on, Doc. I've not said you speak. Doc, switch off your mind. Honorable Singombe, follow up.
Not addition. I think I used the term extent deliberately for me to know if you can tell me, for example, last year, how many local contractors you received against those from outside. For me, that will inform me whether the orientation are informative to the people who reside within SINAZONGWE. Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Chair. Allow me to ask the procurement officer to speak to that. But I must give assurance that as a local authority, we are committed to doing just that.
Procurement officer.
Thank you, Chair. I might have been caught unaware with the question, but I wish to answer maybe in terms of percentage. About 70% of our local contractors are involved, especially with these local projects, such as constructions and water mechanized systems, because it's what they can do. And maybe there could be other things when we are talking about beddings, beds, those technical things that we can only get from Lusaka. Those definitely we prioritize the people that are here, because that expertise could not be locally available. But where the expertise is locally available, we have made sure that that goes to our local contractors, and we want to ensure that even this year we do much more than we did last year by continually engaging them and developing them.
Thank you. Just on that one, I wanted to make a comment at the end. We have seen in many councils, this delayed implementation sometimes is caused by the local contractors who are domiciled within Chasefu, who may not have that capacity, whose capacity is being developed slowly. But if you can get from SINAZONGWE, you go to the next town. They are local. Our interest, this committee and the government, is to ensure speedy implementation of the projects without compromising on the quality and without inflating the prices beyond the means. So the interest number one are the three principles by the President, who says projects will be implemented on time, right price and quality. So now, you are doing enough. Continue doing enough to sensitize, to train the local contractors, because the idea is when the money is, when the contracts or projects are done by the people of SINAZONGWE, the money remains in SINAZONGWE. The money will remain in Chasefu. The money will remain in Kaumbwe, Siavonga. Then that is the desire of the President. But that is not at the expense of poor quality and delay in implementation. At a certain point, when you see that you are not getting, you can extend. From the next town, you go to the province. the entire province of Southern Province, was the money will remain in the province. So that is the desire of government. So the question by Honorable Singombe meant that first priority, the people of SINAZONGWE, and they should do a good job. And director engineering and other planners, you should ensure, even UCS, to ensure that the projects are of high quality. We were giving an example last time that if you look at the Civic Center for Lusaka, when was it built? Years, so many years ago. If you look at the Civic Center of Kitwe, Ndola, those old buildings. But nowadays, if you are going to do ourselves, if a project to have life, it can't go beyond 5 years. Why CS? So do not compromise on the quality and make sure you follow up. Honorable, when you have found order, let order prevail. So that is the comment I wanted to make on this one. So the doc was shaking his head. I want the doc to give a final point before I conclude.
Because what you have provided here,
not a comment.
I can read that. However,
no, if it's a question, I'll give you.
However, an addition of 457,776 kwacha teningwe for expansion of water storage systems in 3 different sites, Chiabi, Malima, and Nangombe. So you seek authority to additional funding of up to 457,000 kwacha 776, not for solar system, but to, it is very clear here, expansion of water storage. Expansion of water storage systems, meaning the tank sizes. So
allow them to respond.
Even the minutes that you have given us on Appendix A, which is Appendix 1, you have you justified the reason for going for direct bidding, and you have on table 1 you have a number of contractors associated projects. For example, Jaya Shankar Construction Limited is the project name is Nankumbi Water Mechanized System, CDF funded 2024, budget price 385, so on and so forth. But the ones that completed these water systems in terms of solar, I can only see 2 contractors, Domas and Mida Agropower Solutions. And the projects that are listed on this are not the solar. Are not the solar. So you get my point, my question? I saw you were busy. You got what?
Doc. You have put up a very good case. Don't add more. You confuse them. I want them to respond. The response that we are seeking from you on this is what? This project at Lusinga. The allocated amount was 100 and something thousand. But the LPO was more. Now, you said that the outstanding works were mostly solar. And you said that this was covered by the application that you made to the CDF committee. Now, in the CDF committee minutes, it's not coming out very clear as if Lusinga, as pointed out in the main text. You said, no, we are requesting to the word, through the name of the word. Well and good. Now, the question that Doc has, the request from CDFC committee was very specific for expansion of water storage. How do you relate it to the solar that was outstanding? So that is the question. that Dr. Mwanza is seeking. How do you relate that to the solar CS?
Thank you, Chair. I wish to clarify that when you are specifying in terms of solar mechanization, you would have to definitely talk about issues of expansion, because it's the size of the tank that you're going to talk about, whether it's 5,000 liters, whether it's 10,000 liters, is what is going to determine the size of the solar panels that you're going to put with that. So definitely solar mechanization has everything to do with the size of the tank and also the network. To what extent, how much power do you need to push the water? To what extent? Is it a kilometer? Is it 20 kilometers away that you'll be pushing this water to? So it all has to do with expansion. But given your clarification even earlier, Chair, we could have written it specifically to say under Nangombe, it is Lusinga. Then if you allow me to clarify, I noticed the Honorable Member also started reading projects from 2024. Those specific 3 were under 2023.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
In conclusion, due to time, I want to state that your report is a fair report, very fair report. I can't lie to you. We just urge you to do more. If you look at the specific findings, a query is one, but to do with the water reticulation. And this committee is well aware, in most of the councils, apart from failed drilling, there is an issue of procurement of water reticulation system, maybe boreholes, because there's the citizen bidders, I don't know you call them, there is a law somewhere that I need to clarify, where our friends who have the rigs, majority of them are Indians and cannot directly participate. The Zambians who have the opportunity do not have the machinery. So when you look across all the councils, 156, the delays in the procurement of these water-related projects is there. So you find that these are repeating. So when you look at this, is in one query, then there is another query on a structure there, and the other one. So our appeal through you, Council Secretary, to all the councils, is we don't want queries. We want 0 queries on specific findings. These cross-cutting issues are explaining how much you have used to do this, but on the community projects and other query and other areas of projects, they must be 0. And you, Sinazongwe, you are almost there. To be fair, I didn't do most of Southern Province, and especially that we are coming from one just few minutes ago, looking at this, and other councils who have looked at. This is a fair report. I want to urge you to keep it up. On the recovery of loans, the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Honorable Sialubalo, has indicated to all councils, and that is policy. He has said people who get loans, CDF loans, should repay the loans. He said using whatever means. We find it very uncomfortable when councils start telling the committee and the people of Zambia that we have informed the bank. We have since written to the bank. To do what? The bank is as a conduit. It's you as planners and everyone to pursue these people. You know where they are found. And please, when something comes from the president, is policy. Comes from a minister, is policy. Coming from any PS local government, is policy. We follow it. That's a directive. So I want to urge you also to take some effort in the loan recoveries, and also to ensure that those who get grants are utilizing grants accordingly. But to be fair to you, this is how it's supposed to be. Do better. You are almost there. So in terms of performance, we are pleased with Sinazongwe Council that you are almost getting there, And your report speaks for itself. It's not about you, Council Secretary. It shows what you are doing there. You have come a long way. I think you are learning, and you were in Siavonga, where we have issues now. But now we are in SINAZONGWE. You are showing that you are doing something. That report is fair. Director Engineering, continue supervision, continuing to check on these contractors religiously. When a contractor is not doing well, follow up and deal with the issues like Honorable Singombe indicated. If you see that this project is not going very well, within the year, before the year ends, remedial measures. Terminate, if it means terminating, advertise. You move on. A thing will be related to that year, not a project of 2023. We were treated to a report, to minutes of 2025. May, 2 weeks ago. That is not fair. Where is management? So we want to say thanks to you. Keep it up. You are doing very well. We are almost there. Dr. Banda tried to...
Thank you so much, Chair.
Dr. Mwanza tried to check, but I saw that he was looking for Nsinga. So he found a word. So thank you very much. And with those remarks, CS, I want to withdraw the immunity that was earlier conferred on you and your team. As you go back, you're on your own. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for still being with us on Parliament TV. We hope that you've enjoyed watching Parliament TV broadcast today, 9th June 2025. So that submission from the SINAZONGWE Town Council, led by Council Secretary Ms. Cholwe Maunga, perhaps the end of today's broadcast on this station that is dedicated to bringing Parliament closer to you. And from all of us here at Parliament TV, we can only wish that you will be with us tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow is a very important day on the parliamentary calendar, as it is the beginning of the third meeting of the 4th National Assembly. You'll recall that the House did adjourn on 28th March 2025. So tomorrow we have the commencements of the third meeting of the 4th National Assembly. We can only urge you to watch Parliament TV on all available platforms. In case you're unable to watch Parliament TV, you can listen to Parliament Radio, of course, in the many places in the country, and of course on our website, www.parliament.gov.zm. So for today, we had 3 councils making submissions to the Committee on Local Government Accounts. Just a reminder that this committee considers the report of the Auditor General on the Constituency Development Fund for the financial year ended 31st December 2023. So this is where we end today's transmission, and we're thankful that you kept us company from the time we opened the station in the morning. From myself, Mutalifelile Smate, of course my sign language interpreter, Machola Kauma, and Jason Manda, the entire production crew, we wish you all a lovely evening and hope that you'll be with us tomorrow.